Hello friends, welcome to today's video. Infrastructure and transportation. These are the industries the company we are going to discuss about today is operating in. But we are not talking about Earth here, but about the space economy, and the company we will be discussing is Momentus, whose mission is to provide infrastructure and transportation services for companies engaged in space exploration activities. Momentus was until recently a privately held company until news hit the streets that they are merging with Stable Road Acquisition Corporation, which is a publicly listed special purpose acquisition company, in short a SPAC. I have made a few other videos on SPACs, but just to provide a refresher, SPACs are basically public companies set up primarily to hold funds and look out for potential private companies to merge with, thereby converting these private companies into public corporations within a span of few months. So in this case, Stable Road is basically facilitating Momentus to become a publicly listed corporation. This brings an opportunity to investors like us to invest in Momentus. So before assessing if it is a company that we should be investing in, let's first analyze the business model of Momentus by going over some of the key slides from their investor presentation. So at a high level, Momentus offers the following services: space transportation, satellite as a service, and in-orbiting services. I know these terms may not make much sense to you, and honestly I am also in the same boat, along with probably the majority of people in the world. Of course, we are talking here about the space economy, which is just up and coming, so obviously there is not much history for us to refer to. Anyway, for now we would have to try and review the company presentation and make a reasonable judgment as to whether it is worth investing our money into it now or not. So going back to their services, space transportation is basically a service offered to transfer cargo in space. From my understanding, cargo here refers to stuff like propellants and other supplies needed to support operations of space stations. As you can see here, Momentus plans to offer 3 products for its space transportation customers. And the company is expecting to significantly lower the cost per kilogram through the Vigoride transfer vehicle, which is scheduled to be in operation sometime in 2021. Moving on to satellite as a service, this is basically a service to host their customers' satellites and payloads into space, and also to provide continuous power, orbit keeping, orientation, and communication for the duration of the mission. And again, the company expects to offer significant cost savings for their customers through the Vigoride platform. The third service planned to be offered by Momentus is in-orbit servicing using reusable vehicles that would be capable of performing services like repositioning, refueling, repairing, and deorbiting of satellites. In the longer term, the company also expects to provide energy and data processing services, manufacturing and assembly, as well as asteroid and moon mining services. Certainly very exciting stuff, and it would be great to see how these plans evolve in the future, both for the company and the space economy in general. Now let's look at the progress that the company has made so far and the milestone expected to be met in 2021. As you can see here, the company started operations in late 2017, and up until now, a few contracts worth around $90 million have been signed, including a deal with SpaceX, which is owned by Elon Musk. The Vigoride platform is scheduled to be in operation later this year and will be launched via the Falcon 9 launch vehicle designed by SpaceX. Looking at the product pipeline, as I mentioned earlier, the Vigoride vehicles are expected to be in service starting later this year, followed by Ardoride in 2022 and Fervoride in 2024. As you can see here, these models are expected to progressively offer higher weight capabilities and cover more orbits, which obviously means that the total addressable market size is also expected to expand accordingly. Even though most of us may not appreciate the real science behind all this, I also want to share that one of the unique propositions highlighted by the company in their presentation is that they plan to use water as the propellant instead of other chemicals conventionally used so far to launch space vehicles. The company claims that using water would allow it to be more cost-effective, more efficient, lower risk, and scale their operations more effectively. Moving on to more details about the contracts signed so far, as you can see here, $90 million worth of contracts have already been signed with several customers, many of which I personally don't recognize, but of course NASA and Lockheed Martin. So let me know in the comments if you have heard of any of the other companies displayed here. It should also be noted that the $90 million are not yet confirmed revenues for Momentus, as it includes non-binding options, which basically means that the customers have the option to cancel these contracts. The company also mentions that another $1.1 billion worth of contracts are under negotiations, including with the US government, which is positive news. Another $1.2 billion of demand is also expected for the Ardoride and Fervoride vehicles from customers including Amazon and Apple. There are many more technical details mentioned in the investor presentation, which I don't want to discuss now and bore you, so I will put a link to the investor presentation in the description below in case you are interested to look into these details. With this, let's move on to the financial information forecast, which is the most important piece of information to review for evaluating if this company is currently a good investment candidate or not. So first, looking at the details of the SPAC merger, you can see here that the post-merger market capitalization of Momentus would be around $1.2 billion, and at the finalization of the merger, around $283 million in cash would be available to the company to fund the operations and future growth. Now let's look at the financial projections. As you can see here, the company is estimated to make very negligible revenues in 2020. So based on that, there is currently nothing concrete you could use to value the company based on current metrics. The revenues for the next couple of years is also expected to be relatively minimal, and the ramp up in revenues is forecast only starting in 2023, which is also when the company expects to be profitable and cash flow positive. And from there on, the company expects to take off exponentially, and by 2027, the EBITDA is projected to grow to $2.4 billion. If we are just looking at these numbers, it would be a no-brainer to invest in the company now, as our investment would easily grow at least 30 or 40 times if the company manages to pull off these numbers by 2027. However, as with any future forecast, the big question is how much confidence we as investors can place in them. Personally, I wouldn't bet big on this stock now, because this is a completely new industry where there is not much of a history to go by, as I mentioned before, as well as the margins mentioned here look a bit over-ambitious to me. I may be totally wrong, but I feel there are bigger companies out there like SpaceX and Amazon who would be very interested in providing these services if there are such high margins on offer. So Momentus could expect a lot of competition in that regard. Having said that, I also do like innovative industries and companies, but for now I'll wait and watch until Momentus executes on their Vigoride launches and start generating some revenues before I invest my money into it. And in case you are interested to invest in this company now, while the stock price is still around $10.60, I would still suggest not investing more than 1% of your portfolio into this company, even though the potential reward is quite high. This is because even a small delay in executing their 2021 milestones would possibly take the stock price down significantly. I hope you found the information I presented today valuable, and as a friendly disclaimer, please note that I am not a licensed investment advisor, and my videos are only meant to document my views on various investment-related topics that I am interested in. So please consult with your own investment advisor before making any investment decisions. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you can please leave a like below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.